Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
It's Mark and Teresa. Teresa and Mark. Hi. We'll just go ahead and start talking. You guys could always replay this and, yeah.
We're going to take a little break from the what's for dinner.
Yeah. We will tell you what we had for dinner tonight.
Yeah, let's
we didn't do a little video because we knew we were going to do this. So there's still some, but there were 2 KC strips in the fridge that you had.
Yep.
And some steak bites.
Yep. I had some leftover Rosette's calzone that you made the other night.
Yep.
Which was yum.
Yep. I made a chaffle and I just had an open-faced sandwich with onion, lettuce, avocado, tomato, sauerkraut, turkey, cheese. So.
Yeah, that was good.
It was good. It was good.
So what's on your mind?
Well, I mean, we were just going to talk a little bit about hormones and a little bit. I had 3 new patients this morning, 9, 10, and 11 o'clock, and each one of them brought me an aggravating story where I just feel, oh, I have to go get this stuff out of the oven. The time went off a long time ago. Can you entertain them?
Well, why don't I go get it out and you
Okay.
entertain? You're better at it than I am. Sorry, everybody.
I just remembered I'd have something in the oven for the kids. Okay, so, you know, the way that you guys get treated out in the medical establishment where you pay money to see an expert and have their expert opinion is just crazy to me. I had a male who was doing great on testosterone, but he had asked his primary like a year ago to test his testosterone. His primary said, are you ready? If you have no problems in the bedroom, you do not need testosterone. Let me just tell you a little secret because I have seen lots and lots and lots of male patients. There is rarely problems in the bedroom, even with low testosterone. So don't.
Okay, back.
Okay, thanks. Don't let that fool you. So just because you don't have a libido, or just because you have a libido and you don't have really bad erectile dysfunction problems, doesn't mean you don't have low testosterone. You had low testosterone.
Yeah, I can speak to that because that's a perfect example, a perfect segue. So I had low testosterone, but I didn't know I had low testosterone. Had no issues in the bedroom. Libido was very high, but I was angry all the time. I was edgy, and I always thought I have too much testosterone. So it didn't turn out to be the case. The reason I was so edgy was because I had low testosterone and I was getting really anxious, and I didn't even know it.
Right. And if you guys know Mark, you know that he looks very fit and buff. And so when we first started seeing a doctor in Florida, and when he walked into the examining room, he said to Mark, oh, you don't have low testosterone, but if you're having symptoms, we'll treat you. And then he literally opened the chart and he goes, oh, you have low testosterone. But Mark has a head injury. So many times, you guys that play football, you guys that play
Army?
I was going to say the London football, soccer, where you butt the head, you butt the ball. That's head injury. We grew up in Florida where you water skied. They're even saying that little bouncing on the water is micro trauma to your brain. So anyway, how are you supposed to know unless you do labs? Or they'll tell my female patients, like I saw a female this morning, 34. She was talking to me and I said, gosh, what you are describing sounds like PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, where women are having a really hard time with their periods, and some of them are even suicidal right before their period starts and through it. And I said, you're describing low progesterone, like PCOS issues. And then she said, well, my primary diagnosed me with PMDD. And I was like, great. What did she give you? Well, she gave me a sleeping pill and an anti-anxiety. And I said, well, God didn't make you with anti-anxiety receptors. He made you with progesterone receptors, and that's what you need. And then later on, she tells me she's had 2 miscarriages, had to be on progesterone during a pregnancy. And I was like, this is progesterone, like pretty easy. So, but someone like her at 34 would get told they're too early to have hormone problems, therefore they will not check them. I just had one of my close friends who I went to nursing school with in Georgia post on her Facebook page about getting her explants out, her breast implants. So she had them explanted and how she feels amazing. But she went into menopause right after she got them implanted at 38. Her doctor said it's impossible. She's a nurse practitioner. You're just working too hard. You're stressed. She's like, I'm not. Like, I'm having hot flashes and night sweats and I'm gaining weight. And she was in full-blown menopause at 38. So that is unusual. But how are you supposed to know unless you do some labs? So it's just, sometimes when you guys are telling me these stories in here, I'm just thinking that I am actually nicer to people in the grocery store than these providers are to you. I don't have a good word for one of the ladies today. She's like, it's crazy. And I'm like, it's not even a great word for it. Like, the weight of what it is more than crazy. And she's like, for sure, but it's crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Bizarre. They're only worried about their bottom line, and they don't care about you guys. And the first 2 patients I had to say, because they've been in and out of the system, in and out of the ER, and I said, if you aren't going to die, they don't care. They don't care to find the root cause. They just care if you're going to die. And if you're not going to die, you're going to go home.
CPT codes. That's what they're worried about. Yeah.
It's frustrating.
For sure.
So my guy on testosterone is doing amazing. And then I saw another 55-year-old back today, and he walked in and he already is broader in the chest and the shoulders. His face was glowing. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then when we were leaving, I said, aren't you a little annoyed now that you needed this probably at least 5 years ago, if not a little bit more? And he's like, yeah, why won't anyone just test? No one will even test. No one will address it. Why are they so afraid? And before I could say it, he said the green. And I said, yeah, they don't want you. Testosterone for men is $135 and change for cream for 3 months. It's cheap. It's cheap. So anyway.
Big deal for guys too. And especially, you know, when we're talking about the fat loss, so we'll switch gears here and kind of talk a little bit more about metabolic health and health coaching and whatnot. But so one of the approaches is you guys who know us know that we take towards fat loss. So some of the things we do obviously is the way we eat. We change that up. We like low carb, carnivore, those types of ways of eating. We also like to fast, so that's another one for us. And then, of course, sleep is huge, and we're going to do a video about sleep all in and of itself because it's huge.
Yeah.
But the other one is through the increase in your lean muscle mass. So for guys, well, it's for women too, but for guys anyway, with testosterone, if we're talking about that, you know, testosterone has an anabolic effect, so it causes you to put on lean muscle mass. Well, lean muscle mass is by driving up your lean muscle mass, you raise what's called your resting metabolic rate. So that's the number of calories your body burns every 24 hours to keep you alive. It's also known as your basal metabolic rate. So basal metabolic rate or resting metabolic rate. So one of the approaches that we have is towards fat loss is to get your lean muscle as high as possible. And then you're burning calories at rest no matter what you're doing. And you can affect fat loss. It's just another tool in the toolbox, so to speak. And, combining that with the fasting, combining that with, a low carb or, ketogenic way of eating. And then if you're getting good sleep, then that's just a fantastic mix to set yourself up for success.
Yeah. And remember, you got to get rid of the seed oil. So you could eat all the refined carbohydrates you want if you eat something that does not have seed oils in it. So there's no canola, soybean, peanut, sunflower, safflower,
vegetable oil, peanut oil.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have on our Connect group, we have a file for your patients where they can actually go in. There's probably a list of 50 of these oils. Sugar's the same way. The food companies have caught on to people. So as we catch on to the food companies and the stuff they're putting in our food, they come up with creative ways to hide it from us. And so one of the most effective ways is they change the names. Yeah. So that's why there's about 50 different names for seed oils, industrial seed oils, and there's another 50 or so names for sugar.
Yes.
So it's there in plain sight, but you don't see it.
Yeah, but if you guys took out seed oils, you're going to take out the bad carbohydrates. So that would leave your bananas and your apples and your even your grapes, which are so sugary. But I'm just saying, if that's all you were eating because you took out all your seed oil, you'd be ahead. I still want you to take out some of that fruit. If you need occasional berries, fine. But the fruits, you guys would just be so surprised. Like, oh, I know what else I had. I had a half avocado. You'd be surprised how quick nuts and avocado add up to sugar. Oh, I know, this is hilarious. Okay, so my patient today, this was amazing. She came to me a couple years ago and then went off the program, hey Vic, very quickly, and had a very stressful ordeal with her mom and some different things. So she's back and she's back on the program. And she's a 55-year-old woman, and she told me today that her vagina is waking up. And I was like, I am so excited for you. So this is exciting. This is like why I love my job, because intimacy is important. But this is the funny part. Well, that was funny too. That was cute. But she went to buy a jacket somewhere, and the lady that sold her a jacket started talking to her about constipation. We women talk about a lot of things
sure do.
in stores and with whoever. But the lady told her, okay, this is the bomb, no pun intended. You need dates, figs, raisins, and prunes. Mix them all together and eat them. And I suddenly was just like, that is so much sugar. That's insane.
Yeah.
And she said her partner was like, why are you eating that? That's full of sugar. I thought we were doing this, you know, lifestyle thing. And she said, the lady told her these are natural sugars. She said to her partner, these are natural sugars. And he said, I don't care what kind of sugar is sugar. Sugar is sugar. And that is a ton of sugar. And so
your pancreas doesn't really know the difference.
she was so mad. She was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing so good. And now this, figs and dates and raisins and
super
prunes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but I digress. So take out your seed oil, and that will probably leave you with your, whatever you guys call those, where you soak your oats so you can have your Holy Grail oatmeal. That would leave that, even though that's a lot, but it would get rid of all the other junk that you guys are eating without realizing. The food companies pulled one over on us back in the 80s when they took away bacon, beef tallow, butter, and they said vegetable oils were heart healthy. We have been bamboozled.
Duped, for sure.
So that causes insulin resistance and inflammation like you can't imagine. And it's in every ultra processed food that you can think of. Even salad dressings is the first thing is soybean oil or canola oil. My wonderful that I miss so much mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my own. Mark bought me an immersion blender, but mayonnaise, soybean oil, canola oil.
It's tough. We go in the store and we look over the nutrition labels and we look at the ingredients, and there's literally, if it's not on the outside perimeter of the store, we almost can't buy anything. Everything is full of, whether it's sugar or carbs or industrial seed oils or maltodextrin or, you know, you name it, fill in the blank. Our food is so tainted, and it's so difficult when we're trying to eat clean and we're trying to eat the way we're eating. Yep. But something to talk about too is you're talking about things sneaking into your, so Teresa mentioned earlier, you know, you've got avocados and you've got nuts and you've got things like that that are keto friendly, but you still have to be careful. You can't overeat them. Same thing with a lot of the keto-fied foods and desserts and things like that you can buy. They're very helpful, but it's more for a bridge. So when you're having one of those days where you're struggling and you just can't, you know you're going to fall off the wagon if you don't have something available, that's when you fall back on those, or you have them once a week. But, you know, to do it every single night, just keep in mind that could be stalling you a little bit. And I know for me, with like nuts, for example, you know, if they're salted, I'm done. Like I can't stop eating them. I eat them like chips. Pistachios, forget about it. Yeah. I'm just going to eat a whole bag.
Yeah. But like over Super Bowl, we went to a Super Bowl party. I made Rosette's yellow mix with caramel and chocolate drizzle on top and a keto frosting.
Yum.
And I literally walked into my friend's house and I was like, can you hide this, please? Because I want me and Mark to have a piece, and the people that were hosting, because they're keto. But then after we have it, anyone else could try it, because you know what happens when you take that stuff? Everyone likes it. So they eat your low carb and then they go eat the full fat or the full carb stuff.
Or they just want to try it. They want to say, hey, you know, like, let's try this low carb, this keto stuff and see how it is. And they eat it and they're like, oh, that's good. And they move on. You know, we've been to a couple of parties where we've made that, and by the time we get there, the food is gone. Like all of the dessert Teresa made is gone. And then they've moved on to, you know, the
actual cookies.
Yeah, the high octane stuff, you know.
So break glass.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, it's true. So, but things like that, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, like Rosette's, who I love Rosette. I did a Facebook Live with her. She sells pumpkin spice stuff.
And it's good.
Super Bowl party, your birthday, your husband's birthday, Valentine's Day. Like, these are the things to use in case of an emergency. If you're going to go out and buy donuts or ice cream, then you should have that. Dr. Tro always says binge on low carb and live to fight another day. But when you binge on all the other stuff, you are going to wake up feeling terrible. Your belly's going to hurt, and it's just going to really set you back. It's going to set you back.
But when you do have those setbacks, you just got to pick your head up and move on.
Yeah, give yourself grace.
Yeah, give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up over it, and pick up.
We've all been there.
For sure. Absolutely.
And I do think not to discredit your gender, males, but I do feel like females are a little bit more emotional eaters. You guys can, I feel like, curb the sweet stuff. Like, you're not a sweet guy. Like,
yeah, I'm not.
Take it or leave it. But we get on our periods, or, you know, children stress us out, guys, you know, like all of a sudden you have to have that comfort food that we're used to having, whether it's chicken and dumplings or ice cream. And every movie that you come in contact with, as soon as the female and the guy and the girl break up, she's eating a pint of ice cream in her pajamas, watching Netflix on the couch from the tub, not even in a bowl. So just be really careful. Food really matters. And for providers these days, like, I have patients come to me all the time and say, my GI doctor, for those of you who don't know, that's a belly doctor. My GI doctor said food does not matter one bit. Well, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Bad advice.
I was talking to a patient today. He's a retired pharmacist, and I was telling him something, and he's like, I can't even trust these people anymore. Like, I can't trust them anymore. I can't trust any of it. You are preaching to the choir, buddy. But it does make it hard when you have to go into the system for something, you know? But if you take care of yourself ahead of time, it can help mend that.
Yep.
You're just going to say we were talking too long?
No, I'm saying we're at 16 minutes, so I think we've probably said enough for tonight. But hey, if you guys have something you want to hear us talk about, you have questions or whatever, please shoot us a little message, or, you know, put it in the comments. Let us know. We'd be happy to talk about it. We're always looking for content and things to talk about. We've got a list of things that we're going to cover, but we would love to hear your thoughts. Also, please keep sharing what you guys are having for dinner as well. It's not just cool for us to see and helpful too, because we do read this stuff, because we're always looking for ideas. But other people out there are watching this. There's so many people who watch and who see this, who don't comment or say anything, but they're in the background watching. And sometimes, honestly, sometimes they're probably embarrassed or afraid to say something. They're just shy.
But they're being influenced by some of your guys' meals.
Absolutely.
And I see tons of people every day. My patients that have been patients a long time, oh, I love your videos. And I'm thinking, oh, I didn't see you on there. Or I didn't.
Like, where did you come from? But hey, so glad you're watching, though.
Whatever. Hold on. Let me see what Bob said. The advice my diabetic pharmacy patients, oh yeah, it is. It's very scary, because dietitians are taught by Coca-Cola and Nestle and the big food. So they all have the same party line, which is you don't have to cut out carbohydrates or sugar. Their party line is you just do everything in moderation, which has never worked for a cocaine addict, an alcoholic, a meth addict, a food addict. It has never worked for many people.
Addiction.
There's probably the outliers.
Yep.
Okay, but the bell curve, most of us, it doesn't work for. So, but you're right. The diabetic nutrition advice, not all of them, but especially if they're in a hospital system, for diabetics to eat 60 grams of carbs a meal, 3 meals a day, plus 15 grams of carbs a snack, and there's 3 snacks a day. So it's like, you know, when us females take your glucose tolerance test when you're pregnant, so say you fail at like whatever the gram of carbs that drink is, that disgusting drink, it's 100 grams of carbs, then they go suddenly tell you to take 300 grams of carbs and
all at one time, you know, just drink this bottle of carbohydrates.
I don't understand.
You're gonna fail it.
Yes,
there was somebody
Pam,
who put
oh my gosh, is right.
Somebody
Choice for sour cream at the grocery store or low fat. Oh, I am not full fat.
Yeah.
Feel like it was a mistake. Don't eat it, it's fine, but you want full fat, because that's going to keep you fatter, fuller, longer, and will not make you fat. But we are programmed to think that fat makes us fat, because that's what they said back in the 80s. You only get fat from like full fat sour cream is if you ate it on a baked potato. As soon as you eat it on a baked potato, your body's going to take the carbs from the potato and store it. Or it's going to take the sour cream you ate and store it, and it's going to burn up the baked potato. So fat is only a problem when it's combined with carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Did I make that clear? Because I stuttered.
Well, I think what you were trying to say, though, is there's a hierarchy with which we burn macronutrients, so fat, carbs, protein, and carbohydrates the top. Our body tries to burn that and use that for fuel first. Then you have the fat behind that. And then if you get into trouble and you don't have enough fat or carbohydrate on board for fuel, then your body will start eating into muscle, and it'll use protein for its energy. Yeah. And then, of course, there's alcohol, too, which is not, it's definitely not a macronutrient, but I guess for some people it is. But yeah, for alcohol, if you have alcohol on board, and this brings up a whole another subject to talk about, but if you have alcohol on board, your body has to rid itself of alcohol before it can even tap into carbs and fat. Your body recognizes
poison.
Alcohol is poison. So your liver has to try and metabolize that, and it tries to get rid of alcohol. And for every one of us has a different, our enzymes in our body are different. We break down the alcohol just like we break down coffee and foods and stuff at different rates. I'm sorry, when I say coffee, I mean caffeine.
Yeah, caffeine.
But yeah, it breaks it. So some people take a long time to burn off the alcohol from a glass of wine, and other people can probably do it in a few hours.
Yeah, and I had a new patient today, and she's really actively trying to stop drinking every night, because sometimes you get into this habit, and really after COVID, a lot of people just, sat around and had wine. What else are we supposed to do? But she was saying whatever she was it was a program she did, and alcohol can take up to 18 hours to burn. So that's what I'm saying. If you're drinking every night, you are never going to even reach your quick carbohydrates like the baked potato you had that night, because your body's going to be burning alcohol the whole entire time you're sleeping, messing with your sleep and your REM. And then when you wake up, then you start eating and it's still burning the alcohol. So really keep that in mind. And I promise you, we are not anti-alcohol. I promise you. Yeah. I just also promise you that it's doing more damage, and what it's doing to you, we undervalue. We just undervalue how dangerous it is. Yeah, and you mentioned one of the most detrimental effects of alcohol actually is how it interferes with your sleep, and it throws off your sleep cycles. And like I said, we'll talk about this in a video we're going to do specifically about sleep. But when you break up when you break up your sleep by whether it's cortisol, or whether you're woken up by an animal laying in your bed, or whether you're drinking alcohol and the alcohol is causing you to wake up, and you're breaking those sleep cycles that you're falling into, you're interrupting the way that the insulin and the glucose interact in your body, and it causes you to store more fat, and it sabotages your metabolism. So that's a big deal. Yeah. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, so we will keep doing this. And, I know sometimes you're like, oh, they just talk about the same thing. But remember, there's new people always coming on. Or like when I first started learning this new way of eating and hormones, I felt like a brand new student again. And I'm just like, what are these people talking about? I almost haven't even heard these vocabulary words, like it's all new. So just, everyone's at a different spot. But we will keep talking about it and keep talking about it, because I don't want to sound dramatic, but we are trying to save the world just with patience, one patient at a time. Yeah. Because you guys need to feel the best you can feel. Yeah. So I really feel led. I want to pray for you guys right now. Oh my, look at that, Darlene. Hi, Dar. Okay, I just want to pray for you guys really quick, because I know everyone's struggling in some way or another. So dear Heavenly Father, I just come before you and I ask everyone in the reach of my voice that you would just lay your hand on them and give them the peace that only comes from you. And I pray, Lord, that the strongholds and the chains of addiction would be broken for them, whether it's food or alcohol or other drugs, Lord. And I pray that their marriages would be revived and stabilized, and they would just have support from one another while they're trying to make big changes in their life. Some of us are 40 and 50, and we've been doing this a long time the same way. And I just pray that you would let those chains break and let us learn new patterns and new emotions in healthier ways. Yes. In your name we pray this every day. Let us glorify you, Lord. Amen. Amen. Okay. So leave us what you guys want us to talk about at some point. Yes. Let us know what you have for dinner. Yeah. Let us know what you have for dinner. We are here for you. Even if you want to call the office and you want us to pray for you one-on-one, we would be happy to do that. But what I say, real life is actually hard. So let's just be there for each other and keep going. Addiction's even harder. And that's what we keep circling back to, addiction. So we talked about alcohol. We talked about food. Yep. Okay. Love you guys. Thanks, everybody. Okay, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.